My cousin's ceremony is tonight.
What's his gift?
We're gonna find out.
What's your gift?
Who's asking?
Us?
Well, us. I can't just talk about myself. I'm only part of the amazing Madrigals.
You get to know so much about Mirabelle in such a short amount of time. You can already tell that she's a caretaker. She cares about her family. She's bouncy. She's friendly. She's empathic. She's so sweet and kind with the kids, even when they're asking a whole bunch of questions. She's playful and thoughtful and engaging.
You have no gift.
Thanks.
If I was you, I'll be really sad.
Gift or no gift, I am just as special as the rest of my family.
That's what I love about kids, is that kids don't have that upper brain mediation part already dealt with.
Maybe your gift is being in denial.
Because of that, they're going to say whatever they think. And often when they say that, from the mouths of babes, yeah, the truth comes out. And I think that in a lot of ways, she is hurt by the fact that everyone was given something and she wasn't. But I think she does a great job of compensating for it.
Our angel.
Nothing.
And I'm not in the way. You are.
How difficult it is to grow up in a family where there's a golden child. It can cause a lot of pressure because you feel like you can't live up to it. No matter how hard you try, it's always gonna be second best. And to hear everyone's accolades all the time must be absolutely infuriating. Even for Mirabelle, who is this wonderful positive attitude, you can see it grate on her. Look at her face when she sees her sister come down from the balcony, and it's not just she comes down. She comes down, there's flowers, she spins, everyone looks at her. I know a lot of people can relate to having to grow up in that kind of an atmosphere, and the pressure of that can be soul-crushing. So in this case, that direct competition usually isn't going to work when you're going to be going into the same field as someone that is always going to do better for you. So most children in these families that are successful, they find their own path. They find an area to excel at or do well at that is different from their family members to set them apart.
You okay? You don't have to overdo it.
I know, Mama. I just want to do my part like the rest of the family.
She's right, amor.
So what Mirabelle's mom is saying is that she's overcompensating. She's doing too much. Mirabelle is naturally a caretaker, and that means she gets enjoyment for caring for others. That means that she often puts herself last and overdoes it. And by overdoing it, that means that she's constantly trying to do as much as she can in as many areas to say that I'm good enough. I can contribute. Even though everyone else have these magical gifts, I still have worth and value. But all of this comes at a cost of her, because caretakers are people that will put themselves at the end of the list of importance. That means that when you ask them for something, they're going to say yes, even if in their brain they think, hell no. They're going to be the people that feed the plants before they feed themselves. And that is a huge emotional cost because you're not giving yourself importance or value. And often that also can be taken advantage of, or other people don't really appreciate it because you're always doing everything. And because of that, people will be like, well, they just want to do that. And the main hope for a caretaker is to be cared for. Because they're invisible, they hope to be seen.
You okay? You don't have to overdo it.
I know, Mama. I just want to do my part like the rest of the family.
And she's gone so far into being a caretaker that she's actually trying to portray a lot of the traits that her sisters have. Louisa, the strong sister, here you see Mirabelle carrying things that are way too heavy for her and very cumbersome. And then Isabella, that beautiful sister that is perfect and does nothing wrong, can create flowers and beauty everywhere she goes. And you see Mirabelle has taken to embroidering in yarn work on her own shirt all of these beautiful flowers and butterflies and creatures. And she made a little tiny butterfly that she placed onto her shoulder. And so in a lot of ways, she looks up to her sisters and is trying to emulate them.
Mirabelle, I know you want to help, but tonight must go perfectly. So the best way for some of us to help is to step aside.
That would have made me burst into tears. So sometimes when you're trying to do so much to have someone recognize you and notice you, they don't get it. And Abuela completely misses. Not only does she miss, all of that hard work that she's put into this is not only not appreciated, but isn't even wanted. She assumes that she's gonna make a mistake. All of us go around with these little tiny buckets of saying, you know, fill this bucket here. This is what are my hopes and wants, and this is what's going to make me feel whole. We hope that someone will recognize us and be able to fill those. And everyone carries around a different bucket, one that we maybe have from childhood or a wound. And for Mirabelle, she really hopes that she can be helpful and useful like the rest of her family. Every time that that isn't recognized, that pain comes back.
I can't.
Come on. Let's get you to your door.
Going back to the place that caused her all of this pain and trauma and hurt. When you go back there, all of those feelings will flood back. We're very associative. We're really associative for places. But for this, it's not just the place. This is the same event. And it's so difficult if you've been hurt in a certain event to go back to the same event again. And so even though this is really hurtful for her, because he needs her and she's a caretaker, she's gonna go and walk up these same stairs at the same event that caused her so much pain so many years ago. And I'm just gonna say it, if you can't go to an event that because it's too painful and hurtful for you, that is completely okay. I'm giving her accolades because she was able to do that, but we can't always, and it may not be the best of things for us to always go and relive a trauma. This can be really painful and hurtful. So it would have been fine if she had decided not to.
Don't be upset or mad at all. Don't feel regret or sad at all. I'm fine. I am totally fine. I'm not fine.
It's often so expected of us to not show hurt or pain because it causes everyone else distress around us. And for Mirabelle, she's a caretaker, so it's even further upon that. She doesn't even feel like she has the right to go through that pain and upset, especially because this is her little cousin who she absolutely adores. But I love that inside of herself, she gives herself permission to still be upset and that it's not okay and that this does hurt her and it does feel pain, because if we negate our own feelings, it causes so much internal turmoil. You want to be honest, perhaps not outwardly, because those around us may not accept it. They may react really poorly, and it actually sometimes can make things worse, and we'll feel worse afterwards. But she, through song in this case, is able to express it and be really honest with her own pain, and in a really beautiful, non-judgmental way. She goes through that having to wear this mask that is exhausting. If you've ever had to go around and pretend that you are happy and things are all right, when inside they're not, it is such an emotional toll to you. You're always having to filter what comes in and fake it. A lot of times when we're feeling really depressed or really anxious, we don't want to hang out with anyone, at least not with anyone that we have to pretend for. And we need that decompression time of just being able to be with ourselves so that we can let go and hopefully heal. In those words that open your eyes, like that's what we want. We want to be seen. She really wants to be seen by her abuela. She wants her to recognize that she would do everything within her power to be able to make a difference, to be able to be worthwhile and valued by her family, but especially by the matriarch. And it's funny because you would think that as we grow up, that would go away, but it doesn't, which can end up making you very type A in your personality traits, wanting to be goal-oriented. You may really overcompensate. Our society is so rewarding to people that are like super achievers, but I know that often that's because of a wound, a hurt, in hopes that that person will really recognize us. And the hard part is that often they never will. Where the real healing comes from is us recognizing that it's not our titles or deeds or jobs or careers. It's in who you are as a person.
Cannot lose our home again. Help me save our miracle.
I will save the miracle.
How do I save a miracle?
There we see that type A personality. She's going to fix it. Type A personalities enjoy solving problems. They're really good at it. They're really good at solving everyone else's problems more than their own. They care a lot, they think a lot, they worry a lot, and everything is about trying to put things in place to be able to fix, solve, and do. But type A personalities also come with those personality quirks of worrying too much, being too hard on themselves. It's never good enough. And so you end up with all these traits that can cause a lot of good things. You're only as good as your last project. So even before you finish climbing one mountain, you're looking for the next mountain to climb because that's where your self-worth is. Just continue on about type A personalities forever.
What did you say to her?
Nothing. I don't.
Mirabelle, whatever you're doing, stop doing it.
What happens if you are the black sheep of the family, that patient X, the person that everyone puts all of the faults and flaws and mistakes onto? A lot of times, that happens in a family where one child is that placeholder for all of the hurt and trauma in the family. It's often used as a tool in a family so that the rest of the family can get along. It's easier that way. But it's really hard on that one child. And sometimes what happens is if someone's constantly blamed, even when it is not their fault, they might just decide, you know what? If I'm gonna get blamed anyways, I might as well do these things that you think that I'm doing that I'm not. And so it can sometimes become this self-fulfilling prophecy. And when there's a lot of pain and angst in a family, there's often that want to have a scapegoat, someone that you can throw all of this on so you don't actually have to deal with the issues at hand. And I think that that's what's happening with Abuela, is that she has placed all of this on Mirabelle because then she doesn't have to deal with the actual fractures that are in her family. If I had them in therapy, what I would try to do is to be able to show that, you know what, we're all like cogs in place. We all play a part. And it isn't just one person that is the cause of any ills.
She hates me. Also, I don't know if you heard, I ruined her proposal. Plus, P.S. It is just annoying. Oh, of course it's Isabella. And what's her problem with me anyway?
So you can see her starting to cycle, those cycling thoughts. Cycling thoughts are thoughts that come up and it's almost like a waterfall, like they just keep on falling and it's hard to kind of gather them all. That happens when we feel anxious or nervous, and for Mirabelle, she's having to confront something that she doesn't want to do. She doesn't want to actually make up with her sister because she still has a lot of angst and animosity towards her. What I would give as a technique for Mirabelle is 1, pause, take a moment, and that's what Bruno is doing. 2, distraction. Think about something else. Instead of thinking about all the reasons that can go wrong, think about all the tools and techniques that she has. She can do this. She's strong. She's positive. She's resourceful. And so remembering a little bit of our good qualities and traits slows down the part of our brain, that anxious part that causes all of these cycling of thoughts.
What could I do if I just knew it didn't need to be perfect? It just needed to be.
I love this. I love the thought of that amount of pressure with having to always be perfect. It's exhausting. And I think that this happens for both Isabella and Mirabelle that want to constantly do more. But the problem with wanting to always do more is there's always more to do because perfect is impossible. Yes, even for you, Jinx. And that means that no matter how close you get, at the end of doing whatever you want to be perfect, you're going to be noticing all of the flaws. So that means that you're constantly dealing with failure because it isn't perfect.
Saving the miracle.
You have to stop, Mirabelle. I don't know why you weren't given a gift, but it is not an excuse for you to hurt this family.
I think that this is one of those really huge parenting mistakes that sometimes we care so much about our family and the people around us that we put so much pressure on them because we are hoping that if we put pressure on them, they won't make mistakes and they'll do more and they'll be better. But what ends up happening is that pressure is impossible to live up to. And the people that are under that pressure are only noticing the flaws, the times that they are not living up to it. Being so hard on someone is not going to make them stronger. It just breaks them down. I think that the home cracking is that perfect metaphor for what happens when we sometimes, in misguided love and care and hold things too tightly because we need failure and mistakes and taking risks and learning on our own, even if it's wrong, in order to be stronger and better and not have that fear of risk stop us.
No matter how hard any of us tries, won't be perfect enough. I love this family. We all love this family.
Good on Mirabelle for being able to share her feelings. I think that because she's held them in for too long, they came out as too harsh and cutting and hurtful. But sometimes we need to say it in a more direct way because sometimes people don't hear because it's painful. It's painful for all of us to hear when we've screwed up and made a mistake. It's never a pleasurable experience to hear the times that you've hurt those that you care the most about. We're not taught this in school, so we're pretty much doing whatever our parents did and what we think is the best thing. We teach people how to treat us. She's letting her know that this is too much, that we need to have a different way.
That I lost sight of who our miracle was for. I am so sorry. You never hurt our family. We are broken because of me.
What a beautiful apology and ownership of what she has caused to the family and the hurt that other people have carried. And she did that great job of hearing what Mirabelle has gone through, sharing that, validating it, and giving a really honest, direct apology. She does a great job, really feels like a proper apology. Not that I'm so sorry you feel this way, but a real ownership of this is the part that I carry.
I can finally see. Lost everything all alone, so it would never happen again. We are a family because of you.
Wow, and Mirabelle does such a beautiful job of doing the same thing for her grandmother. She sees her journey also, and I love those hands that she offers and that Abuela puts her hands inside of hers so they can share this, and she looks directly into her eyes as she's sharing, I understand why you did this also. There's a huge difference between sympathy and empathy. Sympathy is, I'm so sorry you went through that. Whereas empathy is really wanting to walk in someone else's shoes, to try to understand, even though you really can't, but to try to really feel what it must have been like for someone else. And Mirabelle does a beautiful job of also seeing her abuela. I try not to cry every time. I'm like, this one I won't cry for.
What do you see?
I see me. All of me.
I love that ending because in the end, that's what we're all actually trying to get for. It's not even from others that we get our accolades and from others that we need to see the beauty in who we are. But I know it's therapeutic and cliche, but it's us to be able to see ourselves. And that really is where that healing is. It's brilliant because in the end, the magic is inside of who we are and what we bring to the world. And if you want to create your own magic, you can check out our sponsor, Brilliant. The way that you can revolutionize your life with math, science, computer science, physics, quantum mechanics, game theory, cryptocurrency, and so much more. There's no better place to start than with today's sponsor, Brilliant, the online interactive STEM learning platform. And no better time than now, with the new year. Brilliant has a growing catalog of courses specifically created to help you learn concepts by working through them in visual, hands-on ways. I wish school was more like this because it would have been so much less stressful. Brilliant has also been totally revamping their courses so they're more interactive, like the brand new Logic course, which is jammed-packed with opportunities for hands-on problem solving. For example, exercises like this one. Open up your mind and help you look at problems in a completely new way. To get started for free, visit brilliant.org/Georgia Dow or click on the link in the description. And the first 200 people will get 20% off Brilliant's annual premium subscription. Just click the button on the screen or go to brilliant.com/Georgia Dow. Clicking on that button really helps this channel, and so does clicking on the playlist above for more videos on psychology or your favorite TV show, such as Arcane. Give them a watch, and I'll see you next video.